Okay, everybody, I am on page 563, and we're doing lesson 5-2 today. So it's all about story problems, but they're not hard. You just need a calculator. So let's take a look. So there's a thing called the Beaufort scale. So the Beaufort scale goes from 0 to 12. 0 means calm seas. If the wind's not blowing much, you don't have very big waves, it's nice and peaceful. But a 12 means, oh my gosh, hurricane, the sea's going to be crazy. So it has to do with the velocity of the wind, and then you get this scale from 0 to 12. So what we do is they give us the Beaufort scale, and I wanted to solve for B. So the first thing I did is I divided by the 1.837 on both sides. You can't really divide that. It's like a formula, so I got to leave it. So I can't divide that, so I really V over 1.837 equals my B to the 3/2. And then I want to undo, I want to solve for the B, so instead of 3/2, you go 2/3 on both sides because that'll cancel. And then you're left with B equals, well, it'd be this squared, right? That's the same thing as this squared and cube root. So I rewrote it as B equals the cube root of V squared over 1.837 squared, okay? So in the second part it says, okay, well, let's go ahead and use this with speed of 20. So I know the wind speed is 20. I put the 20 in for velocity of the wind. I plugged 20 there. I used my calculator to figure out what the answer was. So I just went cube root of my 20 squared divided by my 1.837 squared, and I got an answer of about, oh, I forgot the 1. Hold on, I'll do that again. Cube root, I knew something was wrong, of my 20 squared divided by my 1.837 squared. Now I get about a 4.9. So that's a Beaufort scale, about 4.9. Hi, Connie, come on in and record if you want to watch. It's kind of what we did today on our lesson, okay? So then I got a Beaufort scale of 4.91. I'll be quick. So then the next thing I did is a second equation. It has to do with, body weight or body mass and how much medicine you get. So it's an equation of the body mass is equal to the square root of W, which is your weight, times your height divided by 60, okay? So it says let's solve for H, okay? So I got to solve for H. So, okay, I took my equation here. The first thing I did is I times it by 60. So I can cancel the 60s, right? So I got a 60b, and then I had to get rid of the square root, so I squared both sides, and I squared the 60 for 3,600, and b squared equals WH. And finally I got to solve for H, so I divided by W, and there's my equation, okay? So on the next page we're going to use that equation, so I turn the page, and then I rewrote my equation. Here it is, and they tell us, okay, well, wait a minute, let's use this. So what's the height? A patient has 90 kilograms, that's my weight, put that there, and a body scale of 2.1, so I put the 2.1 for B, and I just used my calculator again to find the height, typed it in. I went to 3,600 divided by 2.1 squared divided by 90, and I get an answer about 9 point, that's wrong. Well, that's because I didn't do it right. Let's try this again, 3,600 times 2.1 squared divided by 90. Let's see if we get the right answer this time. Yes, about 176 centimeters would be the height of this person, okay? And then finally, we did one about a clock, and we know that a clock goes back and forth. It's a grandfather clock, so that's the pendulum, okay? So we get a formula for the time it takes to go back and forth in terms of seconds and the length of the pendulum. So here's our equation. It says solve for L. So the first thing I did, so divided by 2 pi. Divide by 2 pi on both sides, gets rid of this. And then I still have the square root, so I squared both sides. So then I got a t squared over a 4 pi squared. And finally I got to multiply by 32 to both sides. And I thought, well, let's just reduce 32 over 4, so I got an 8. So the formula would be the length of the pendulum is equal to 8 times t squared over pi squared. Okay, so then, all right, so we use our equation. We need the length of a pendulum. If it takes 4 seconds to go back and forth, so I just plugged the 4 in for my t. I used my calculator, and I got about 13. So that was the lesson for the day. If you have any questions, come see me. Hold on. Don't say anything, Connie, because you'll be on.